listening to the Ballroom Network. The following program is intended for all audiences. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Goon podcast with your hosts, Joe Mandel, the Goon, and the man with the plan, Adam Schaum. We're bringing you the fantasy football knowledge that you need every single week.
Derrick Henry still going. Stays in bounds. He might go. 99 yards for the touchdown. Unbelievable.
Flushed out again, all the way back. Turning the corner, fires downfield. Caught. Touchdown. Only Mahomes turns what might have been a 15-yard sack into a 27-yard touchdown.
Saquon Barkley across midfield, down the sideline, stayed in bounds, and Barkley takes it all the way. 68 yards for his first NFL touchdown. McCaffrey right up the middle, and he is gone for the touchdown. 58 yards. Pass is to Thomas. He's gone. Touchdown Saints.
Okay, it's time for the easiest part of any coach's job, the cut. Now, while I wasn't able to cut everyone I wanted to, I have cut a lot of you. Steven, I like your hustle. That's why it was so hard to cut you. Congratulations, the rest of you made the team. Except you, and you.
God bless fantasy football. There are many things a man can do with his time. And this, better than those things.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Fantasy Football Goon. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Mandel, the Goon, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Adam Schaum, the man with the plan, and our buddy Tooch is on vacation in the Philippines. But Adam, how you doing, buddy? How you feeling?
Good morning, Joe. Great to be back with you. Feeling much better than last week, and just really glad to be back here on the show. And still enjoyed interacting with everybody last week, though, through the chat. So I appreciate everybody tuning in still last week.
Yeah, absolutely. We had some big numbers in the chat room last week, so hopefully that continues over time, and hopefully we get some great questions today. So reminding everyone in the chat room, as I always say on this banner at the bottom of the screen, we are answering all your questions to help you make that final playoff push. We are just about there. Playoffs starting very soon. So you got to make that push. That's why we're here for you. So get those questions to us in the chat. And before we answer some questions, Adam, there's some more bye weeks this week. There was none last week, but they're back again. And we have the Cardinals and the Panthers. Two of the worst fantasy teams in football. And who would have thought that about the Cardinals at the start of the season, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
Not too many big losses from this one.
No, not a whole lot. Mostly just missing DeAndre Hopkins is probably the biggest loss for most teams. He's just been fantastic since coming off suspension, I guess, not IR. But yeah, that's probably about the only guy most teams are missing. Maybe a little bit of James Conner here or there, but
for sure. And our buddy Travis loves your sweater, Adam.
Thank you, Travis.
Merry Christmas, man. Merry Christmas. So yeah, we're not too worried about the bye weeks this week. Just D-hop, and my dog decides to bark for no reason. Lay down, go to sleep. Now he's going to come up behind me here as we keep going. But anyway, let's answer a couple questions here because we got a couple off the top of the show, and we want to reward the people that tune in every single week. And Travis and Connor are those people that tune in every single week. So Travis wants to know, start Dak or Brady? I have Brady in a certain category later in the show, which we'll talk about. But I think it's really hard at this point, Adam, to bench Dak Prescott with the way he's been playing. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely playing Dak over Tom Brady if I'm choosing between the two. Dak's pretty much a must start. I think the Cowboys have been the highest scoring team since he returned. So there's no way I'm benching Dak, especially against Indianapolis, who's a decent defense, but the Cowboys have plenty of weapons that Dak's going to still be able to get the ball all over the place.
Yeah, that's true. I fully agree. And spoiler alert, since there'll be different people here later on, I have Tom Brady as a sit this week. So we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But Travis says, good morning, fellas. Good morning, Travis. Appreciate you as always tuning in. Same thing with Connor, who's got a question here. And this is a tough one. Adam Thielen, Elijah Moore, DeAndre. Don't know which. If it's Hopkins, that means he's on a bye. Carter, Boone, pick one. Thanks. Also 8-4, baby. Well, congratulations on the record. I think you're talking about DeAndre Hopkins, right? If that's the case, he's on a bye and you can't start him.
I think he means DeAndre Carter there. I think that's probably one name, probably for the Chargers. That's a pretty tough call right here. If that is DeAndre Carter, I actually think he's probably the first one I'd pick. I would be playing out of that group because Mike Williams is still out. Yeah, Mike Williams is still out. Keenan Allen is active now, so he's going to be drawing a lot of attention. I think Palmer and Carter could both have good days today because I expect that Chargers-Raiders to be quite a few points scored in that game.
Yeah, I like DeAndre Carter a lot too. So he's where I would go as well. Thielen, he's like boom or bust, man. It's JJ all the time, all day, every day over there. So Thielen feasts and famines depending on the coverage, and I think this is a JJ day, and Thielen kind of goes a little silent, but it's close. But I agree, I like DeAndre Carter. So Connor, let us know for sure if that's who you're talking about. If so, that's who we would roll with. Travis says he has a Bears Santa gnome named Barry. That's who he had starting. Thanks. And then another loyal listener, our buddy Cesar, Rodgers or Garoppolo. I love Jimmy G this week because he's got a great matchup. I'm just a little worried about Jimmy G being a little bit banged up because it was a knee injury he had last week, right, Adam? I think it was something like
I don't know. I don't think I caught any about that.
Yeah, Jimmy G's a little banged up. I'm pulling it up now just to make sure because I have Jimmy G in like 2 leagues.
I think these are 2 good options right here.
They're great. You can't go wrong with either one.
Yeah, unfortunately, I would love to say bench Rodgers every week, and mostly you can, but against the Bears, that's what he lives for. So, and we know the Bears' defense is absolutely dreadful right now. But Garoppolo is one of my favorite plays this week, so I think that could be a shootout game with the Dolphins.
Yeah, I like Jimmy G over Rodgers just because of the consistency and the weapons around him. As we know, Rodgers has nothing around him really except for Christian Watson.
Right.
So I'd go Jimmy G. And just to report, Jimmy G did have a knee injury last week. He rolled up. He took a shot to his left knee last week. He didn't miss a snap, but he was limited in practice until Wednesday. Then he had full practice from Wednesday on. So I think Jimmy is going to be fine.
Yeah, they're just being careful with him, it sounds like. I would play Jimmy too.
Yeah, I like Jimmy too. I got one league, Adam, where this is great conversation for the show, so I'm just going to bring it up. I have one league in Greg Braggs' league where my team's making the playoff push, and I'm between Jimmy G and Jared Goff this week, both good matchups. I'm like, I've gone back and forth between the two of them. I have Jimmy in there right now.
I'd play Jimmy for sure.
Yeah, Goff, we'll talk about him again later, but he's got another good matchup today too. So
he does. Garoppolo's going to give you that safer.
That's what I'm going for, safe, and that's why
Goff
I got Jimmy in there.
Kill you, where Jimmy's likely not going to. You're not probably not going to lose because of Jimmy. You could lose because of Goff.
Yeah, that happened to me once this year.
Right.
But a good conversation for the show, and we got a great question here: Chris Olave, Keenan Allen, or DeAndre Swift for flex? Well, we're hearing that Keenan Allen is without. He's 100% from what I'm hearing, good to go. Yep. With the killer matchup, I have a hard time benching Keenan Allen in any capacity. Allen, I don't think Adam, I don't think either of these two guys can touch Keenan. Do you?
No, Keenan Allen, we're definitely going to talk about him again later in the show. He's definitely the one I'm picking out. If we're just picking one out of these 3, he's easily the pick. Yeah.
I'm with you. And Connor also wants to know what we think about Andy Dalton, and he's played surprisingly well, but I'm not starting him this week. I think that's a Hail Mary pass, no pun intended.
Yeah, my thoughts are I'm trying not to think about Andy Dalton this week.
Yeah, Connor, hopefully you don't have. I mean, if you're desperate enough to have to start Andy Dalton, I'm scared.
I mean,
Hopefully
can you give me any good reason why they're not playing Jameis Winston? Like, I don't even understand.
Jameis is probably up to something.
Like,
Or the
why
coach
would
just
they not
doesn't like
be?
him. He's in the doghouse. Who knows?
Yeah, I just don't understand that.
He's just mad they haven't been eating that many W's this year.
Yeah, I guess so.
But, the Saints are horrible. So that's another head coaching position that'll probably be open in the offseason. Good question here from Cesar. I swear we will get into the rest of the show here in a minute. But Deshaun Watson, do you wait or do you start him already? For those of you who don't know, he gets his first start as a Cleveland Brown today after all the controversy. The suspension is up. Man, I mean, the matchup's not horrible, but I kind of like him to come out with a chip on his shoulder. I mean, I guess it depends who your other fantasy starters are. Adam, I don't know where you come in on this one.
Man, I've been all along. I've said there's no way I would play Watson this week, though. The last day or so, I've kind of got a little closer to considering I would if I was desperate. But I mean, he's got. Obviously, it's timed up against Houston, so that's the whole revenge game idea. I'm sure he feels like he was wronged in Houston and all that, but he hasn't played football in over a year and a half. Texans have the worst run defense. We know the Browns have the best running back in all the NFL. You got to expect there's going to be a whole lot of Nick Chubb today in this game. So I just don't know. I just don't think I would expect a big upside play from Watson today. He could be a safe floor if you need it, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're desperate and you got someone that's on a bye or hurt, well, you don't really have anybody on a bye that's good. So I think in daily fantasy, if you're taking a flyer on someone for cheap, I think Watson's the guy to take a cheap flyer on, but I think that's about it.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Travis joking that Sean Payton is available for the Saints. Yeah, he is. But Adam, let's get into our starts and sits of the week and keep things chugging along. So why don't you tell us about your quarterback starts of the week?
All right. I love Justin Herbert today versus Las Vegas. I expect this to be maybe one of the highest scoring games of the day, besides maybe the Chiefs and Bengals game. Herbert's slowly been picking up the pace, and you've seen since Keenan Allen's come back the last 2 weeks, he really has got his guy back, you can tell. Looks really comfortable out there against a bad defense, a middle-of-the-road defense against the pass, terrible against the run. So I look for Chargers put up 30 points today, and I think Herbert will have 3 touchdowns in the process of that. The other guy we talked about, Dak Prescott, already versus Indianapolis. Cowboys offense has been on fire. They score like 30 points a game. Dak's usually moving the ball through the air doing that. So I like Dak versus Indianapolis defense. And Trevor Lawrence, another guy that's been steadily good this year. I mean, if you look back at his numbers, there's like only a few like huge games, but pretty steady across the board. And we know the bad Detroit defense today. Jacksonville's kind of on a roll right now, and I think they continue that today in this game and probably can score 3 or 4 touchdowns.
And they've been chugging offensively, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later because there's some other players that we both want to start from the Jaguars. As you can see, I have Trevor Lawrence on my list as well. I love him today. I think he goes crazy. I was hoping he'd be on waivers in a couple leagues, but he was not. So hence I have Jimmy G. I would take Lawrence over Jimmy G this week, but I have Jimmy G, so I'm not wrong. I'm not upset about it, but I was hoping Trevor would be out there. Geno Smith, another guy I love today, going against the Rams. They're in complete disarray. This team can't stop anybody. Now they have no Matthew Stafford, no Cooper Kupp. Aaron Donald looks like he should retire right now. He can't tackle anybody. So I think Geno Smith has a great day today against the Rams, over 300 yards passing and at least 2 scores. And then my guy, Jimmy G, I like him today against Miami. As we mentioned, Adam, they are, I believe, the 30th ranked pass defense in the league. And Jimmy has a lot of really good weapons. So I think Jimmy has a great day.
Yeah, I like those picks, Joe. And on the Aaron Donald's actually going to be out today, and it's the first game of his career he's missed.
Well, yeah, there you go. I had heard that he was banged up, and I guess he's officially out.
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at – I have the inactives right here. I haven't even opened them, but we're going to talk about them here shortly.
I'm basically aiming to play all defenses against the Rams for the rest of the season if you can.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pulling up the Rams inactives, and he is officially inactive, as we said. Also, no Matthew Stafford as he's been placed on IR. But let's dive into what's that?
No Cooper Kupp, no Allen Robinson.
Yeah,
they're completely wiped out there.
Yeah, it's tough skidding. McVay
Yeah.
may be Mick unemployed soon. That was a really bad one, so I'm not going to try that again. It sounded better in my head before it came out, but let's dive into our running back starts of the week. I'm going to go. I love Rachaad White today against New Orleans. I mean, this is a guy that just continues to show that he's worth a start every single week when he's the lead dog. And New Orleans can't stop any defense, anything, pass, run, anything. Their defense has been horrendous. So I love Rachaad White today to be a top 5. I like him as a top 5 running back this week. I really do. Both running backs in this game, but I'm going to go with Dameon Pierce versus Cleveland today. He has been a dog, just running crazy for Houston. They can't win regardless, but I think he's going to have some big stats. Obviously, on the other side of the ball, Nick Chubb's going to go crazy today too, but he's a must start every week, so I don't have him listed here. And then David Montgomery against the Packers today. The Bears have to run the ball against the Packers if they want to win, and David Montgomery is going to be eating good today in the neighborhood. So I like all 3 of these guys as a play this week.
Yeah, I love those picks as well, Joe. Rachaad White, I think, is a big-time up-and-comer. I think he's going to be one of the favorites next season.
I fully agree with you, man. What do you got, Adam?
I think I lost you for a minute.
You got me, buddy? I got your picks pulled up.
Still there?
Yep, I'm still here. How about now?
Yeah, I got you. You got me?
I got you, man.
All right, we're back. All right, so I think you were talking about my running back starts now here.
Yes,
I
sir.
love David Montgomery as well, just as you mentioned. I like both sides of that game running the ball. Aaron Jones seems to destroy the Bears every time he plays us. Unfortunately, that one hurts. But, yeah, David Montgomery and Aaron Jones, both sides of it. I think this is a big-time rushing game here for both teams. Look for both guys to get in the end zone on that one. And I'm going Brian Robinson against the Giants as well. He's had a great game last week. Antonio Gibson's banged up with a foot injury. They say he's likely to play, but we've seen Gibson go in and out of games a lot in his last couple of seasons. So I think they rely on Robinson a little more than they have even if Gibson is healthy throughout the game. But Giants aren't anything too threatening on defense. So I think that's a pretty good football game right there, actually. And Brian Robinson should get 20 carries.
Oh, I love Brian Robinson, man. He's been one of the comeback stories of the year, really exciting guy to watch. And
no doubt,
man, he's very exciting. Before we get to wide receivers, we got a couple more questions here. We're going to dive in and grab them. Zachariah wants to know, flex DeAndre Carter or Zadarius Knight?
That's a tough call.
I mean, I really like Carter. I've been really high on him as of late. I agree with you from earlier, Adam. So that's where I go. But Knight has looked good as well.
Yeah. I mean, Knight's got a pretty good matchup too. The Vikings, that game could go back and forth a little bit. The Vikings defense isn't anything to worry about. I think I would go Knight on that. I think he maybe could get a couple of dump offs in addition to the carries there in that game from Mike White.
It's really close for me. It's a bit of a coin flip, but
I'm
going off recency bias with Carter, but then again, Knight has been solid as well. So
yeah, it's a tough call there.
It's a good problem to have. Let's put it that way.
Knight's definitely the most popular waiver running back this week.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for boom or bust, if you're looking for a guy that could absolutely boom, it's Knight, and I think Carter's more of like a safe play, in my opinion. It depends on what you want. Either guy's fine. So great question, Zachariah. And then Travis wants to know any defense I should look for on the wire. I've got Miami starting and Indy on the bench. Seattle. I can't start them and Dak.
Look for Seattle right now today versus the Rams.
Yeah, I think if Seattle's available on your wire, that's the team you go and get. So let us know in the chat, Travis, who's available on waivers, and we'll let you know who to pick up. But Seattle
also like Pittsburgh defense.
Yeah, Seattle and Pittsburgh are the two waiver wire defenses that are available that are worth a start today. So just throwing that out there. But Adam, let's dive into our wide receiver starts of the week, and then I will let you take this one first.
All right. We talked about Trevor Lawrence. So I like his go-to guy, Christian Kirk. Kirk has put up great numbers in all the favorable matchups he's had all season. Every time they've had a good matchup, Christian Kirk has delivered. That should happen again today versus Detroit. We know Detroit's always a favorable matchup. Look for Lawrence and Kirk to get in the end zone today. We also mentioned Keenan Allen already. He looked really, really good last week, finally. I think that was his second game back. They kind of eased him in the first time. Last week, he looked back to his full self, target machine. Again, we talked about a lot of points in that game, so I love Keenan Allen. And then my guy, Devontae Smith versus Tennessee. Tennessee's got, I believe, the 31st ranked secondary and pass defense in the league. I assume they're probably going to try to want to stop A.J. Brown down the field more, so look for Devontae Smith across the middle and under the underneath stuff, maybe to eat up quite a few targets in PPR format. So I love Devontae this week.
Yeah, I've been big on Devontae every week this year, and I traded him to you in one league. I wish I still had him, but that's all right.
He's almost caught up to A.J. Brown in targets. He's only 7 targets behind on the season now.
Yeah, it's crazy. So he's definitely worth his weight in gold. But over to my starts, I'm going to go with Green Bay's number 1 wide receiver against the horrendous Bears defense, Christian Watson, who's been big boom lately, and I think that continues today against the Bears, and what I think will ultimately be a high-scoring game, surprisingly. So I like Watson a lot. You talked about Devontae Smith. I feel the exact same way. And a guy who we recommended to be started last week to one of our listeners who needed a boom or bust guy, and we said Zay Jones. And I said every time he faces a bad defense, he gets between 8 and 10 targets. Well, I believe he had 10 or 11 targets last week for like 9 catches, 120-something yards.
Yeah.
I love him to do it again. Detroit's terrible. Zay Jones, another Jacksonville wide receiver alongside Christian Kirk. I think both of those guys are going to eat today, and Zay Jones is a guy that surprisingly was available on a lot of waiver wires. Probably not anymore, but definitely worth a start today. I would love to play him against Detroit today if I had him.
Yeah, I just picked him up in a league 5 minutes ago.
Was he available in one of our leagues?
Yeah.
I was going to go look.
I'm playing against you in.
Damn it. I was going to look at him, and I didn't get to it before the show. Well,
I was able to drop an injured Jacoby Myers for him.
Nice. Well, I'll probably pick up Myers then. Is he out for the year?
I figured you would. I was like, but Joe will take him when he's healthy. But
yeah, it's all right. All good picks there. Yeah. Okay. By the way, we're getting props from Travis. He said, Joe, giving you props on the Dolphins last week and the 20 points. Yeah. I told you, man. I told you. And they came through for you. Hopefully got you a W. Travis said he picked up Seattle. Pittsburgh was also available. I think Seattle's the right pick there. I think that's going to reward you today, Travis, in a big way. And Kyle wants to know full PPR, Rachaad White versus New Orleans or Michael Pittman at Dallas. Man.
I'm facing this one, Kyle. I've got the decision like this. I think I'm going Rachaad White. Michael Pittman could easily have a decent game tonight, but I think it's going to be short stuff. Just they're going to have to get rid of the ball. Matt Ryan's not mobile. Dallas is going to be all over him tonight.
And Rachaad White's just looked so explosive, and he's so involved. And New Orleans can't stop anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the safer play is going to be Rachaad White there.
Yeah, I love what I've seen out of him. It's a tough decision, and you used to always say never bench Michael Pittman, but if you have this decision, I'll take White.
Yeah, I'm very concerned about Pittman and Jonathan Taylor in that game.
Yeah, me too. Travis, he said, yeah, hopefully another 20 out of Seattle, and he did get a W last week. All right, buddy. Well, that's all good stuff. All right, man, let's get to our tight end starts of the week. And Adam, I will let you lead this one off.
All right, I like our boy Cole Kmet today versus Green Bay with Justin Fields back under center. I think Cole Kmet's going to be his go-to guy, especially with Darnell Mooney out now. We know Mooney and Kmet are Fields' 2 main targets, basically all of the targets. So Cole Kmet's got to see some today, probably in the red zone. You mentioned I think there'll be quite a few points in that game. So Cole Kmet ought to get maybe one of those easy play action touchdowns or something close to the end zone. I'm as bad as the team is, I'm going back to Tyler Higbee right now. Seattle, Arizona are those teams you always target your tight ends against. And even with bad quarterback play, look, we mentioned all the receivers that are out there. No Cooper Kupp, no Allen Robinson. It's basically Van Jefferson and Tyler Higbee. And the rookie Kyron Williams out of the backfield. That's basically going to be the short throws they're going to make with John Walford today. So I think Higbee's going to see quite a few targets against a bad defense. The other guys, Foster Moreau's been stepping up for the Raiders. Talked about this being a lot of points in this game. The Raiders don't have Darren Waller, don't have Hunter Renfrow still. So Foster Moreau's been the guy to step up and caught a touchdown last week and maybe even the week before that. So I like him as a streamer.
Two of his past three. Yeah, definitely 2 of his past 3 games has had a touchdown. You're going to hear me talk about the other side of this later on,
3 games,
Adam. Yeah, I've got Foster Moreau as a sit. We'll talk about why in a little bit, but you're right. They don't have many weapons today, so we'll see what happens. Getting into my tight end starts of the week. I like your picks, by the way. David Njoku against Houston. Now he gets back.
He's going to be out, Joe.
Is he officially out?
He's officially out.
Really?
Yeah, I had him in my lineup too, and now he's officially out.
Oh, son of a gun.
After a great game last week. I don't get it. He had a tremendous game last week, and now he's out this week.
Was he even on the injury report? I didn't hear anything about it.
It just kind of started happening yesterday.
Man, okay. Well, obviously you're not starting David Njoku.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I had him. I was playing him.
All right, well, scratch that one and put it in the bucket. But I like Gerald Everett today against the Raiders. He's been a guy I've been talking about all year, but I really like him today because Keenan Allen's going to draw a lot of attention today. Vegas is poor against the tight end. I think Everett gets a touchdown. Man, that blows my mind about Njoku. So that is breaking news, folks. There is no David Njoku today against Houston.
Yeah, I'm not even sure exactly what it is right now because he had been hurt, came back, was a little bit limited, but had a decent game, and then had a huge game last week with an amazing catch in the end zone, a one-handed touchdown catch to win the game pretty much, and now he's out again, so that's pretty disappointing.
Yeah, looking at that, that's interesting. Well, poo on that. So, and of course, Cole Kmet we know is going to go crazy today. Justin Fields back. That'll be good news for him. So, all right. Tight end, that's interesting. We got a couple questions here we're going to dive into quickly. Let's see. Full PPR, pick 3. Swift, Dillon, Pollard, Pirine. I'm going to go Swift, Dillon, Pollard for me.
I'm probably going Swift, Pollard, Pirine. I think Mixon's not going to play.
That's true. I know. I just don't know how much they're going to run the ball today if there's no Mixon,
Well, I think Pirine's a better pass catcher, and they're going to be playing
that's true.
Kansas City.
That is true. Yeah. Dillon kind of came back. That's true.
It's hard because Swift's such a question mark, so it's hard to say. Dillon looked amazing last week, finally like he did back early in the season and like I thought he would all year. So those Swift, Dillon, Pollard are just so tough right now.
Yeah, that's a tough one, Randy. That's
I think I'm putting Dillon out on that. Is the odd man out for me because Aaron Jones dominates the Bears.
Yeah, it's close for me between Dillon and Pirine. I just like what I saw out of Dillon last week, but I know that can't happen every week. They might get up big though and have to use Dillon a lot. So I don't know. It's a bit of a coin flip, but Swift and Pollard we both agree on. Travis wants to know alternate league with Fields back. Do I start him or stick with Carr? You got to start Justin Fields.
Yeah, over Derek Carr, I would for sure.
Especially if he's playing, and it sounds like that's the case because there's freak injury to the backup, which is really bonkers.
There's a little piece of me that thinks Fields is a man on a mission today. Like I think he set out last week just for this game, and he may come out and just throw it on Aaron Rodgers today.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I think that's the case. We'll see, but that's a tough question right there. But I like Justin Fields today for sure. Let's see what we got. Also, morning Trey's back. Morning, gents. Full PPR start 2, ETN, Wilson, Rashad White, Lenny, or Devontae Smith. Thanks and good luck this week. Start 2, full PPR. Well, we both love Devontae Smith this week. Man, that is so tough.
I'm
Because Jeff
probably
Wilson.
starting ETN and Rashad White.
Yeah, because Rashad White's got that matchup, and ETN is going to eat in that great matchup today.
I love
Wilson's
Jeff Wilson,
a little
but it's
banged
a
up.
tough matchup.
Yeah, it's a
San
tough matchup,
Francisco
and he's a little
defense.
banged up too. So I think I would say I'm with you. I think I'd probably go ETN and Rashad White because both of those guys are gonna get a lot of volume today.
Yeah, that's what I would expect.
And then he wants to know Tua or Dak. That is a tough one. That's a very tough one.
That is a real tough one. Oh man, nah. I think I'd take Dak for the better matchup.
Yeah, I think Dak's got the better matchup for sure, and I just like what I've seen out of them. So that's the way I'm gonna go.
So, I mean, San Francisco. I think Miami is going to put up points today, but San Francisco is playing basically the best defense in the league right now. I mean, they're really good on defense right now.
No doubt about it, man. And the more questions we answer, the more we get in the chat. Trey says, appreciate it, fellas. We'll take Spubsby's question, and then we're going to finish off our DST, our sleepers, and our sits. Spubsby. Here we go. Full PPR. Need 3 wide. My wide receivers are tough, but I need the win. Williams, Elijah Moore, Mac Hollins, Slayton, DeAndre Carter. DeAndre Carter, for sure.
I kind of think the last 3 there for me.
Yeah, I think it's Hollins, Slater, Carter for sure. Yeah, I'm aligned with that.
I love Elijah Moore, but you just can't trust what's going on there with him and the whole passing game. Mm-hmm. And Jameson Williams could be a stud here down the stretch, similar to Amon-Ra last year at the end of the year, but let's see it before we put him in our lineups.
For sure. So Hollins, Slayton, and Carter, I think we're aligned there. Also need 2 of B-Rob, Swift, and Pacheco. Definitely Brian Robinson.
I'm going Robinson and Pacheco, actually.
Yeah, I'm going to go B-Rob and Swift because I have Pacheco as a bench, but we'll talk about that later. Again, we're not going to agree on everything, but either way, it's a good problem to have. All 3 guys solid. Oh man!
Did you see last week, Joe? Did you happen to catch in the Chiefs game the play where they split Pacheco out into the slot? He ran the slant across, caught it about 10 yards.
Yeah, that was great.
It was absolutely perfect and beautiful. The guy was a college wide receiver. It's like, why are they not doing that more often? Why are they only running the ball with him and doing that one time in that game? Like, yeah, I mean, he ran that route so good and it was so perfect. And it's like, you could do that 8 times a game.
And they just might moving forward. We'll see.
Yeah.
Alias says Justin Fields or Justin Herbert. The battle of the Justins. That's a tough one right there. They both have killer matchups today.
That is super tough. Oh man. I'll probably go Herbert just because of the injury risk with Fields. Fields could take one bad hit and get hurt.
Yeah, that's where I fall as well. I mean, usually I would say Fields because of the rushing, but if he gets hit on the first play of the game, then you're getting a goose egg or 1 point for the day. So
yeah, there's more risk.
More risk there. Boom or bust. But I think Herbert.
You got to avoid the risk here these last couple of weeks.
For sure. So I'm taking Herbert for sure.
Unless you're like a huge underdog. If you're like a huge underdog in your matchup, maybe you play Fields for the 40-point upside there.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about your defensive starts of the week, Adam.
We mentioned Seattle versus the Rams. Rams are wiped out. Seattle's defense has not actually been that bad. Cowboys, obviously, one of the best defenses of the league against the terrible Colts offense. It's just slow as it can be. Matt Ryan's a dead duck back there tonight. And we talked about the Steelers. I love the Steelers defense with TJ Watt back. Fitzpatrick's back playing. They're healthy again. Bad Atlanta offense that can't seem to do anything with the ball. So I love all 3 of those.
Yeah, me too. Those are all great picks. And, I also have the Seahawks versus the Rams for the same exact reasons. I really like the Commanders today against the Giants. Their pass rush has looked really, really good.
Very
They're
good
playing some
defense.
really, really good football right now. So I like the Commanders today against the Giants. They're hot. And then surprisingly, I like the Browns against the Texans, which we talk about every week. It's any team that plays the Texans is usually going to do pretty well. So I like the Browns as like a waiver wire pickup if you're kind of desperate. So they might put up a decent amount of points today on defense. So we'll just have to wait and see how that all plays out. Adam, what about your sleeper starts?
Sleepers, if you're needing some guys off the wire, here's a few that I see that still are available places. Kenny Pickett versus Atlanta today. Atlanta, we just talked about it, bad defense, bad offense. There's kind of a bad team all around. Kenny Pickett, I thought, looked pretty decent in that game. I think that was Sunday night or Monday night. I can't remember. But Kenny Pickett looked pretty good in that game, I thought. He's not going to be too flashy, but even if he doesn't do a whole lot throwing, he tends to get these goal line touchdowns and stuff with his legs. They run him around the goal line a lot. He's one of those guys that can easily save your day with just a fall in the end zone touchdown on the ground. And Kyron Williams is still available on some waiver wires. He's pretty much the starting running back now for the Rams. Their offense is completely wiped out right now, and he's a good pass catcher as well. So I look for him to see quite a few targets and 10 to 12 carries at least versus Seattle today. And the rookie I love, Treylon Burks for Tennessee. He's back healthy last week, looked amazing in that game. It's a tough matchup versus Philadelphia, but they're going to have to throw the ball at some point, and he's really their guy. So he's a big-bodied guy, too. They can get down the field, and even with Darius Slay and them, he'll give them a tough matchup. So I like Treylon Burks if you need somebody off the wire.
Some quality sleeper options there, Adam. I like it. I like it a lot. And speaking of sleeper options, I talked about this guy earlier in the show, Jared Goff against Jacksonville. He's one of those boomer bust kind of quarterbacks that could help you in a pinch. I like him today against Jacksonville as a sleeper role. I think he can put up, 20 fantasy points, maybe a little bit more if things work out right. So Jared Goff is a great fantasy option for guys who need help at quarterback. I love Jaylen Warren today against Atlanta. Some people might not consider him a sleeper, but I think he is, since he is available on a handful of waiver wires. And,
I love him.
Yeah, he's a great option today, especially against Atlanta. And then Donovan Peoples-Jones against Houston. He's just been really good, and now he gets a better quarterback back against a horrible defense. This is the day Donovan Peoples-Jones, who is available in the majority of waiver wires, by the way. I think this is the day that he catches between 6 to 8 passes and scores a touchdown. So if you need that off of waivers, I think today is the day it's going to happen. Take your shot now while he's available.
I added him this morning in your league.
Of course you did. And last but not least, I like Evan Ingram today as a sleeper, a tight end for the Jaguars against Detroit. Detroit can't stop the tight end. Ingram has been involved sporadically throughout the year, but he's looked a lot better as of late. And I think Ingram scores a touchdown today. So tight end's a wasteland, as everyone knows. So Evan Ingram is available in quite a few leagues on the waiver wire. So someone that can help you out sitting on waivers.
Evan Ingram's a target machine all year.
Yeah. Yeah, the targets are there. Just it's as long as he catches. I think that's why he's no longer on the Giants. But he'll be catching hopefully a couple passes.
This is also like the first season I can remember that he's ever been healthy this many games.
Yeah, that's true. It's been a hot minute since he's been healthy. But Adam, let's get into our sits of the week, and I'll let you lead things off.
All right. Cortland Sutton, man, what a disappointment this year. He's one for me for the Broncos. I'm not comfortable playing any Broncos really right now, especially receivers. Russell Wilson's been awful. They just can't count on anything consistent there. We know Baltimore's always got a good defense, so I'm just staying away from that altogether. Plus Jerry Jeudy, I'm not sure if he's playing or not. So if he's out, that just makes it even tougher for Cortland Sutton. Another guy, Cordero Patterson, man, really been a letdown the last couple of weeks for people that were waiting on him to come back from his injury and off IR. He's got a tough matchup versus the Pittsburgh defense, and the Falcons are using like 4 running backs right now. So Cordero Patterson, you're really hoping he gets in the end zone, and I don't want to take that chance in week 13. The other guy on the same game, same team, Marcus Mariota, a lot of people have been able to stream him for a lot of the year because he is like a top 12 to 15 quarterback on the season.
Surprisingly, yeah.
Yeah, because he ends up with 40 yards rushing a game and kind of helps himself that way. But again, I'm staying away from the Falcons versus Pittsburgh today. Just bad matchup. I think Pittsburgh wins this game easily.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think all these are great guys that should stay on people's benches. And get to my starts or my sits of the week. And Tom Brady against New Orleans is one of them. We talked about it at the top of the show. Tom Brady, that offense can't get things going. They're down, of course. No Leonard Fournette. Tom has just been, I don't know. It just seems like unorganized is maybe the way to personify it. What I see on the field, I don't know if there's a disconnect or what it is, but there's something going on there, and I just can't start Tom right now, even against a poor New Orleans defense. So Tom is on my sit list. I'm sure because I said that he'll hear me and go nuts, but I just don't like what I see out of Tom Brady. I don't like Pacheco today, and I know we just talked about that a little while ago, that he's probably going to catch some passes, which I hope he does. But since he has been really good on the ground at stopping running backs, and I just don't see him having much light today. If they're going to win this game, they're going to have to throw the ball. And that's just my opinion. And Pacheco might catch some passes if they include him in the game plan there. But for me, I don't want to take that risk on them having to make sure that he catches passes. So that's why he's a sit for me. Cortland Sutton, you just talked about him. He's been a huge disappointment. I can't stand to watch the guy play football. I can't stand to see Russell Wilson throwing the ball. And he's not catching passes. He's not getting open. So that's why Sutton is a bench. And Foster Moreau, who was one of your starts of the week, Adam, I'm going to tell you why I have him as a sit. Because there's only 3 tight ends in the league that had more than 50 receiving yards against the Chargers this season, and those are Darren Waller, Travis Kelce, and David Njoku. Foster Moreau, for me, doesn't fall in the category there at all. And then out of those, there has only been, let's see, and Kelce and Dulcich are the only 2 tight ends that scored touchdowns against the Chargers this season, which is absolutely crazy to me. So for that reason, I can't trust Foster Moreau. But as you mentioned, they don't have a lot of weapons to throw to, so maybe by default, he might get a lot of targets. I just don't know how many he's going to catch. So that's why, for me, Foster Moreau is a sit.
That's fair enough. And I'm not looking to start Pacheco either. He's not a start for me either. I just, in that question earlier, I would have started him over, I can't remember who it was. But
yeah, for sure.
I agree with Pacheco, but I just think Pacheco has a huge ceiling that they haven't even begun.
I would love for them to use him more. Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't even begun to open yet. Next year, I think he's a huge player for them. And I just, like I said, that play last week, you really saw what he's capable of doing if they would start using him more that way. But, I mean, right now he's averaging over 5 yards a carry on the season. And, like, every game he's, like, almost 6 yards a carry. Like, literally every game except for one, he's been that high of yards per carry. So,
yeah, I like what I've seen out of him. I just wish they'd use him more. And the barkeeper himself says that we deserve a thumbs up for our week-to-week coverage. Appreciate the compliment, Aldo. Appreciate it, man, as always. And Adam, I know you probably got to get rolling here. Let me give you one more question, and then we'll let you bounce, and then I will take the rest of the questions. Let's see. Ball Glove Blueprint wants to know, Adam, and I'll let you field this one. Knight, Robinson, or Rachaad White? Looks like it's a pick one.
Pick one. I'm going Rachaad White in PPR because he's definitely going to catch passes. Brian Robinson's not going to get many balls thrown his way. Zonovan Knight, I expect a few at least, but that's still a little bit of a question mark. He's only really had the one game so far. So Rachaad White, for sure, seems to be the passing down guy and getting the bulk of the carries right now for Tampa.
Yep, I fully agree. I think Rachaad White is the guy here, and he's going to eat big time today. So great call, Adam.
Loves dumping it off.
Brady really does. He loves dumping it off big time. But appreciate the analysis as always, Adam. I know you got to bounce to get out of here, but I will continue to field the rest of the questions, and then we'll be back again next week for Week 14 final playoff push.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. I was glad to be back this morning. everybody get the rest of your questions into Joe. He'll get them taken care of for you. We appreciate everybody. Aldo, thanks for the compliment. We couldn't be doing it without you, buddy.
Amen.
Everybody have a great day. I will see you guys next Sunday. Go Bears.
You know it, man. Adam, appreciate it, buddy, and we'll be in touch later on today.
Bye, guys.
All right, later on, Adam. Peace. Adam Schaum, everybody, the man with the plan. The guy knows what's going on. One of the smartest fantasy minds that I know. Him, the Tooch, and I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I like to think that I know what I'm talking about too. But let's dive into the rest of your questions, guys. Caden, Nico Collins or Traylon Burks? I've really liked what I've seen out of Nico Collins the last couple weeks. Burks is a bit of a flyer for me, but I think Collins is a safer play. So I'm going to go with Nico Collins. I'm excited what I've seen out of him. And obviously now with the fall of some of the other players on that team, look for Nico Collins to take a step forward. Kelly Nixon, start 2. Wilson Jr., Pacheco, Pirine. Oh, man. Well, Pirine probably going to get the start today against Kansas City. Pacheco involved intermittently. And Wilson Jr., who's been great, a little banged up with a tough matchup against San Francisco. Boy, I think Wilson Jr. is more involved than Pacheco is going to be. So I like Wilson for sure. And then it's between Pirine and Pacheco, right? So Pacheco for me is like a compliment. They use him kind of as a receiver. He gets a couple rushing opportunities. And then Pirine today potentially could be the lead dog against Kansas City. Because of that, I lean a little bit towards Pirine just because he's going to get the bulk of the carries. But if you're looking for boom versus safe versus like boom or bust, Pirine's a safe play. Pacheco is the guy that you play that could potentially go off if he gets the right amount of targets. But for me, if I'm going safe, I'm going Wilson and Pirine. So hopefully that helps you a little bit, Kelly. Jelly of the Month Club. Somebody's watching Christmas Vacation. So I love the reference there. 6-point passing touchdown and 1-point rushing first down. Lamar or Dak? I'm going with Dak today. I absolutely love what I've seen out of the Cowboys. I think Dak Prescott's continuing to get it done, and they've been one of the hottest offenses in the league since he came back. So I'm going to go with Dak. Lamar and the Ravens have looked questionable at best. I think Dak all day. Spubsby wants to know, any waiver stashes to get ahead of the waiver wire for next week? I really think it's Donovan Peoples-Jones, wide receiver for the Browns. This is a guy who's been very good, and he gets Deshaun Watson back this week. I think Peoples-Jones is going to be the hottest waiver commodity next week. Well, yeah, next week after these games. So I'd say right now, go get Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's the guy I had as a sleeper today, but I think he scores a touchdown, has between 80 and 90 yards. Maybe that. He's going to get a lot of targets. So I really like Donovan Peoples-Jones. So hopefully that works out for you. Our buddy Homer is back in the chat asking questions. Start, sit, play 1. Olave, Zeke, Kamara. Thinking Zeke. What do you think? Thanks. Start, sit, play 1. Jeez. I have a hard time benching Kamara ever, but he doesn't have a great matchup today. Zeke has not looked great, but he's been better as of late. And Olave, I can't trust the passing game for the Saints. So I'm going to go with Zeke. I agree with you, Homer. Have not seen much out of the Saints that's worthy. Even Kamara has been pretty bad. So I'm going to go with Zeke, who has potential to vulture a couple touchdowns today. All day, baby. Ball glove, blueprint, PPR, Debo, or Brandon Ayuk? Man, that's a great question. I really have a hard time benching Debo ball glove, and the reason is he's so explosive. He's going to get targeted more than Ayuk probably. He may not have as many touchdowns, but he also could have 3 touchdowns. So Debo for me is the higher ceiling, so I always start that guy. Love Ayuk though. Not saying to bench Ayuk, but if you had to choose between the two, I would go with Debo, and I can't start both because that's too many eggs in one basket. G-Skag, Keenan and Watson and Olave at flex. Do I make any changes? I have Thielen, Palmer, Pickens on my bench. I'm assuming that you are talking about Keenan Allen and Deshaun Watson, and then Olave at your flex. I would not start Olave this week. I much rather have Josh Palmer get the start, who's probably going to see a lot of targets with Mike Williams still up in the air. Great matchup for the Chargers today. So, it's you have Keenan Allen though. Man, you have Keenan Allen though. Let me ask you this: is Donovan Peoples-Jones available in your league, G-Skag? Let me know, because I would like to. I'd start Donovan Peoples-Jones at a flex. I know that's a bit crazy, but I don't like Thielen. I'm not starting 2 Chargers. And Pickens, for me, it's hit or miss. He's going to see some targets today, but I think Peoples-Jones goes crazy. To answer your question, Pacheco or Fournette? Fournette is inactive in this game, I'm pretty sure. Let me pull out. Well, I guess it's not officially out yet, but we're likely not going to see much Fournette in this game. I doubt he's even going to play. So I would go Pacheco since by default. Man, we're getting so many questions today. And G-Skag says it's Christian Watson. Yeah, you got to start Christian Watson. So Keenan Allen, Christian Watson. And then I'm curious to see if you can pick up Donovan Peoples-Jones. I like him over Pickens, and I like Palmer, but I'm not starting 2 Chargers. So let's see. Mark Gretford, drop 1. Jameson Williams, Christian Watson, A.J. Dillon, George Pickens. Between all of those, I'm going to drop Williams. I mean, I want him to prove it to us first before he can get it done. He might have a late season renaissance like Amon-Ra St. Brown did last year, but I can't start him until I see otherwise. So I would drop Williams out of those. David Montgomery or ETN at flex? Man, can you start both? Flex Lord, let me know if you got anybody else. I would start both of those guys. And who would you start out of Watson, Tua, Brady? I'm taking Tua today. I think Tua goes crazy. Watson is a bit too big of a question mark, and Brady's he's just been horrible as of late. iPod Touch Superfan, start, sit, 1 flex, PPR, Swift, Rachaad White, McLaurin, Olave. You're going with Rachaad White. He's going to go absolutely bonkers today. He's going to get it done for you all day. So I'd say go with Rachaad White for sure. All right, so let's see. iPod Touch is also saying, or Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'm still going with Rachaad White out of 1. I think he's going to have a huge day today. Rachaad White is a must start, in my opinion. Marcos, half-point PPR, Walker or ETN? I'm taking ETN. I think he is going to go absolutely bonkers today. He's going to have probably 20 to 25 touches in this game, and he's got a great matchup. So I think ETN could easily score 2 or 3 touchdowns today, and you cannot have that guy on your bench. iPod Touch Superfan, you are very welcome. I appreciate you tuning in. Rachaad White hopefully does the world for you and get you a win. So I would love to see that. Flex Lord says, sadly, I cannot. I have Ramondre and Dalvin Cook as RB1 and RB2. All right, let's go back to your other question. Man, that's tough. I guess I would go Montgomery because they're going to have to go crazy with him against the Packers today. He's going to get a heavy workload, and he always likes to run over the Packers. So I'd say I would go with David Montgomery. Man, I hate having to bench ETN, though. That's close. Let's see. Jimmy, Jackson or Lawrence, $100 on the line. You're going with Trevor Lawrence 1,000,000% today. Trevor has been on fire. He has a killer matchup. For me, he was my top quarterback start of the week. And that's saying a lot given the fact that there's a lot of great matchups. But anytime you get to go against Detroit and you're playing as good as you are right now, Trevor Lawrence should be started today, and you are not going to regret it. He has looked really good. Detroit has looked really bad. And then you're looking at the wide receiver is going to have a good day. Zay Jones has been fantastic. So if you find a way to get him on your lineup, you're starting him. And same thing with Christian Kirk. So Kirk and Zay Jones, both of those guys are going to go off today. Mark my words. Molly wants to know, Justin Fields or Lamar Jackson? That is a great question. Lamar Jackson has been horrible as of late. You can't trust him. Has not looked good. And then Justin Fields is banged up, but they held him out last week to prepare for this Packers game. I think you got to start Fields, but you have to keep in the back of your mind that there is a possibility that he gets hit early in the game and gets knocked out and re-aggravates his injury. With that said, the upside is too much for me on Justin Fields to start Lamar Jackson over him. So I'm going with Justin Fields personally today because he's going to run. He's going to rush probably over 100 yards and throw for about 180, 200 yards and maybe 2 scores. So Justin Fields is going to get you more fantasy points as long as he's healthy. That's the way I'm going, Molly. So hopefully he can stay and finish the game today. You'll do well otherwise. Jimmy says, thank you. You're very welcome, sir. Josh, Pollard or Montgomery? Man, that's a tough question, Josh. And the only reason I'm going to say David Montgomery is because David Montgomery does no one to vulture the carries from him like Pollard does. You're going to see Zeke get some, vulture, some touchdowns at the goal line. So I'm taking David Montgomery, who's going to get the full workload today against the Green Bay Packers. And he always likes to run over the Packers. So I would go with David Montgomery. Josh, Christian Watson or Scary Terry? I'm going Christian Watson. Watson has been one of my wide receiver starts of the week. Chicago's secondary is absolutely horrendous. No Eddie Jackson. I mean, everyone is just banged up. Christian Watson is going to be wide open. He might have 4 touchdowns for 375 yards today. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think he's going to have at least 1 score and go well over 100 yards. And that's a must start in my opinion. So go for it, Josh. Hopefully it works out for you. Josh says, you are the man. I thank you. You're very welcome. We do this every Sunday. So appreciate you guys tuning in up to kickoff. We're just about there now. Molly also says, thank you. You guys are very welcome. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We answer all questions every Sunday leading just up to kickoff with my co-host, Adam Schaum, who had to take off for work, and my other co-host, John Santucci, the Tooch, who's in the Philippines, who, by the way, I want to wish him and his wife, they renewed their wedding vows out there. I just want to wish you guys congratulations on that. That's really cool. Can't wait for you to be back on the show, but I'm glad you're enjoying your time down in the Philippines. So we answered a lot of questions today, guys. I'll give you guys a few more minutes here to get any extra questions in, and I will answer them before we get off the air. But we are a few minutes away from kickoff. My daughter's still down for her nap. I'm watching the monitor. I'm on solo dad duty this afternoon. My wife's got some holiday cookies getting made, which is very exciting for me. I know you guys all out there love Christmas cookies and candies too. But, that's good news for later on tonight and for the rest of the holiday season. So anyway, kid's still down for a nap, so I can answer a few more questions here before we get to kickoff. We've been on the air just about an hour now, which is very exciting. That means it's been a long nap for my daughter, which is good news. So I'll give you guys about 2 minutes. We'll take it about until 11:45 Central, 12:45 Eastern to see if anyone else has other questions. Someone always gets a question in at the buzzer. So if you guys have questions, get them in right now. Some of the big inactives today, surprise inactive for the Browns. There is no David Njoku, who would have been a great start today. For Pittsburgh, no big names out. The Jets, there's no Michael Carter for the Jets, so you can't start him. Zach Wilson, of course, inactive for that game. Baltimore, there's no J.K. Dobbins today, so Gus Edwards is a good start. For Denver, KJ Hamler's inactive, but you weren't going to start him anyway. The New York Giants, it's not anybody fantasy relevant. Let's see here, going through the Jaguars-Lions game, nobody fantasy relevant. Of course, for the Bears, they lost Darnell Mooney to IR last week, and their backup quarterback, Trevor Siemian, also placed on season-ending IR. I already mentioned David Njoku out for the Browns. Brandon Cooks out for the Texans. Rex Burkhead also out for the Texans. Going through all these morning games. Trey Sermon inactive today for the Eagles. So that's someone that we were looking at as a potential sleeper pick. But we're getting a lot of questions here. That's fantastic. All right, I'm going to answer all you guys because you're here, and I appreciate all the questions. Josh is still here. Huge Seahawks fan. Yeah, man, we're excited about what we've seen out of Geno and the Hawks this year. Last quick question. What Seahawks receiver are you riding with, Lockett or Metcalf? I own them both in a Survivor League and have to start one. Last question, I promise. Josh, it's okay, man. I don't mind the questions. It's really tough. We talked about this last week on the show, and I went back and forth with my co-host Adam. Well, he was sick, but he was in the chat room like you guys are. And I love. Sorry, I can't even talk. I love Tyler Lockett. He's the deep threat. He's the guy that's going to get open. But Metcalf is the PPR guy. So I guess Josh, it depends on if your league is PPR or half-point PPR. In a PPR league, I would go with Metcalf. In half-point PPR, I would go with Lockett. So take it what you will. Both guys, it's a great problem to have. But if it's this week, I'd probably roll with Metcalf just to be safe. And Keg Carr wants to know, P. Ryan or ETN, half-point PPR. You got to ride with ETN this week. He is going to easily get 20, 25 touches, maybe even more in that game. Great matchup against a bad defense. I'm going ETN all day. He's going to help you. Josh says he likes it. I'm glad you like my answer, man. I appreciate you tuning in and checking things out. Again, we do this every single Sunday, 10:45 Central, leading up roughly until kickoff, give or take a few minutes. But we are about 15 minutes away from kickoff. I've been answering questions like crazy, running through inactives list. And we were just talking about the Seahawks with Josh, and he's got a great matchup today against the Rams. Big inactives for the Rams in that game. There's no Aaron Donald. There's no Matthew Stafford, no Cooper Kupp, no Allen Robinson. The Rams are absolutely decimated. So you might have missed it earlier in the show, Josh, but the Seahawks defense is our number one defense start of the week. I think they go crazy, easily 15 to 20 points today, and a big W for the Hawks. So they've been a very exciting team to watch. I don't think anybody expected them to be. I said in the first show of the season that they were the worst defense in the league, and they made me eat my words, and I've been very excited to watch them play football ever since. So, Josh, appreciate you tuning in as a Seahawks fan, and we love helping fantasy players win their matchups each week, and we are in the playoff push, so we are just about there. Playoffs coming up, big time. You got to win your matchups and get it done. iPod Touch Superfan says I have the Seahawks defense. Well, they're going to do well for you today, man. I'm wishing I was able to get them in a couple leagues, but of course they got picked up. But they're going to do good things for you today in a big way. I appreciate everyone tuning in here. I see Molly reacted to our video on Facebook and gave us a like, so I appreciate that. Also, you guys, if you're on YouTube, smash that like and subscribe button on the Barroom Network. All the great network shows come on all day covering the Bears. We do our fantasy show every Sunday. I do a baseball show about the Chicago White Sox during baseball season called South Burbs Hitmen. That's on every Monday night. Lots of great content. Make sure you give us a subscribe or a like, and if you follow us on Twitter at FFB Goon or on Facebook, look up Fantasy Football Goon. You can watch our videos every Sunday there as well. We got Kanye West here in the chat. Geno or Lamar? I'm going Geno Smith. Yeah, he's been fantastic. He's got a great matchup today. And Lamar Jackson and the Ravens have looked kind of lost offensively. So I'm going to go with Geno Smith, who's surprisingly a top 7 fantasy quarterback. Probably will finish the season as a top 5 for a guy that went undrafted. Very exciting stuff, and exciting to see Geno get where he needs to be in his career. All right, guys, we have made it to the finish line. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes for any more questions, and then I'm going to try to skedaddle out of here. I got some spam here on YouTube saying new site with hot girls. Well, we're gonna go ahead and remove that because that's spam. We're gonna block you. So there's no room for any of that spam here in the chat room. So don't bring it. We're gonna block you. Our buddy Travis, best baseball talk in South Burbs Hitman. I appreciate that, Travis. We're gonna be back in a big way this year. Lots of changes for our Chicago White Sox. They just made the Mike Clevenger signing official a little while ago, so that's going to be exciting. And we'll cover lots of White Sox baseball the rest of the season. iPod Touch Superfan, is Chase good to go today? Yes, Jamar Chase is going to play today for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm not sure what percentage he's going to be at, but he will take the field. He's expected to be back. And anytime Jamar Chase plays, you can't really bench him. So that's going to be an exciting game. I can't wait to watch that one later on. I believe that is the night game. Is it? Yes, that is I lied. That is a afternoon game today. That's a 3:30 Central, 4:30 Eastern game. So that's going to be an exciting one to watch. I can't wait to check it out. All right, folks. Gave you guys a couple extra minutes to go. We've reached the end of the show. Appreciate everyone for hanging out with us. The chat room was super engaged today. We answered a lot of questions. Hopefully we can help you make that playoff push. We want you to win your fantasy championship. So tune in every week to Fantasy Football Goon, 10:45 Central, 11:45 Eastern, every single day. And I got to answer Travis's question here. Got to change the Russo's locker. Yeah, he's no longer the manager. We've kicked around a couple of different names. What did I say? I got to go back to my text exchange. We were talking about some of the new names that we might go with. Hang on, I'm pulling it up right now. While I'm looking this up, chat, let me know if you got any more questions. Otherwise, I'll skedaddle out of here soon. I was thinking about, Travis, Pedro's pen or Pedro's pitch or Pedro's pinstripes. So let me know out of those three, Travis, what you like. So that's Pedro's pen, Pedro's pitch, or Pedro's pinstripes for the new segment for South Burbs Hitmen. Let me know what you're feeling here in the chat room before we get out of here. And that'll probably be the note that we end on. But as I was saying, we do the show every single Sunday, 10:45 Central, 11:45 Eastern, all the way up till kickoff, which is coming up in 9 minutes, guys. Get those lineups set. I got to look at my lineups. I'm going to have to end the show here in just a second. But I'm going to see if Travis answers here what his thoughts are on the segment. So Pedro's pen, Pedro's pinstripes, or Pedro's pitch. So we'll see what you like out of those three. But anyway, everybody, appreciate everyone tuning in to Fantasy Football Goon. As always, thanks to my co-host Adam Schaum, who had to take off a little early to make it to work, and my other co-host John Santucci, the Tooch. Make sure you subscribe to the Ballroom Network on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at the Ballroom Network. Also follow FFB Goon on Twitter and find Fantasy Football Goon on Facebook and give us a like as well. It means a lot. So we'd appreciate you guys doing that. Travis says he likes Pedro's pen. Thank you. That was my suggestion. Gonzo didn't like it, but I like it. I'm glad you like it. So I think Pedro's pen's got a nice ring to it. We'll probably go with that. But, we'll kickstart it in the offseason and figure it all out. But everyone go win your fantasy matchups. We'll be back here next week, a week from today, on December 11th to get you ready for the final playoff push. Win those matchups today. As always, God bless America. God bless football. And let's go kick some ass. Win your matchups. And we'll see you guys back here next week, getting you ready for a fantasy championship. See you guys next time. And I got to find the credits here to make sure I roll the right thing. There we go. Here they are. We're going to get out of here. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in for Fantasy Football Goon. I'm Joe Mandel. See you next week. Get some W's.